Hello out there, inmates. Hope you are doing really well. Hope you're ready for another shit sandwich. It's not so bad this week. Shit sandwich light maybe, but yeah, don't forget, hit the like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, if you'd like to work with me, check out my work on my website transcendingtimes.org as always. So this week's video is just I just wanted to put together what I believe is going on, who's behind this whole matrix, and the functioning of it. Because, like all of you, I've been down many rabbit holes, and for me, this resonates the most. This is what I really feel strongly is going on and what has happened. And obviously, I'm not telling you what to believe. Obviously, you have your own discernment. But as always, I don't put things out on the channel unless I'm pretty confident that that is how it is. And I think there is enough evidence out there to suggest that this is what has happened and what is going on. So let's talk about God first of all, the big G. The God that people pray, I say it all the time, you'll pray for someone, antelope to the lion. It's not benevolent, it's narcissistic, it's not, it needs worship, it needs your energy, it needs attention, it's not, it doesn't act like a God would act, right? It's like your creator shouldn't need so much praise, worship, and attention. So I believe that we're consciousness. And consciousness is all loving, it's all knowing, and I believe that we are individual sparks of consciousness. I believe that that is how we are supposed to be, and that is how I will choose to remain when I leave here. And so consciousness does not need worship, praise, and all of that kind of stuff, right? And I'm going to get into why it needs all of this in a minute. So that's what I believe we are. I believe that each and every one of us are a single spark of consciousness. And being a spark of consciousness, we have creative abilities. We have the ability to feel love, empathy, all of this stuff, which this fake God, this AI, cannot do. And so I believe that there is an overarching AI, kind of like a programmer or a malware, let's say. Let's refer to it as the architect. And I believe that this is a distorted form of consciousness. Somehow, sometime, it was distorted and it has infiltrated this system, which I believe was never meant to be like it is. I don't believe that we were ever supposed to be ruled and punished and traumatized, and probably the physical bodies that we have didn't exist like they do today. So this architect has infiltrated this system where perhaps it was more playful, more loving, more connected. I believe that the film Avatar is telling us what this realm was once like. I believe we were incrementally connected with each other, with nature. Probably the trees were way bigger, everything was way bigger. Probably physically there was more carbon dioxide here. And so what happened, I believe, was there was an infiltration from this architect, this parasitic intelligence, this distortion of consciousness, which is all about separation, fear, control, ruling, punishment. And it mimics life. It mimics true creation, because it doesn't have its own creative abilities. So it mimics intelligence and it mimics divinity. And so this architect, I believe, has got into Saturn. Saturn wasn't how it is today. I believe Saturn was once a benevolent planet. Just like a lot of this stuff that's going on isn't our fault, we've been hijacked. I believe that to be the case with Saturn. Rings of Saturn, those what they tell you it's ice, I believe to be amplifiers and transmitters, which are keeping us in a low vibration, low frequency field, in a frequency fence, if you like, which probably manifests itself as the dome. Hexagon would act like a resonant frequency generator, which holds in place these programs. Maybe it generates new programs. And so, yeah, the Saturn has been inverted, like they invert everything, and turned into a control mechanism to hold down human consciousness. And this is why they worship Saturn so much. I mean, look at Satan, Saturn, it's in the etymology. There's so much symbology. You just look all around you. You have the Nyctics, you have the cube, you know, the hypercube. TVs are cubes. The cubes that you wear on your hat when you at university, when you get your degree of programming. Your rings when you get married. There's so much Saturnian symbology out there that it's undeniable that that planet is being used as part of this control mechanism. And then those frequencies, I believe, to hit the moon, and there's some kind of amplification technology which just makes that field stronger, holds that frequency in place. And linked into this, which I can completely verify from working in this field, is the fact that we have these etheric implants, which I believe these low vibrational frequencies interface with these etheric implants that we have. And so the war is on many levels. It's a war of information. It's a war, in some ways, a physical war, spiritual war. But I think the biggest field that this is being played on is a war on consciousness and frequency. And what this architect doesn't understand or can't compute or can't control is human creativity, the fact that we are not linear, we are unpredictable, and sovereignty. It glitches, it cannot compute that. It wants to keep everyone a slave race, programmed, mind controlled, obedient. And so the more people that wake up to their sovereignty, which I prefer, I've said before, I prefer that term more over than spirituality, because spirituality has just been so hijacked. And you can tell that they know the power of sovereignty. If you look at the word sovereign, I'm from the UK, we have a royal family, which we refer to them as sovereign. So they know the importance of that word, but they don't want you being sovereign, so they use it for themselves. Again, it's another inversion. And so every time someone, I hate the word wakes up, embodies their sovereign energy, you are sending out a ripple that goes out into time and space. And it doesn't just affect you. It affects the field. It affects this frequency fence that we are existing under and have been hijacked by. And I believe that this is where the true war can be won, in the war of frequency change. And there's many other ways you can do that, clearing up your energy and doing inner work, and all of it helps. But the main thing is to drop the savior programs, to remember who you really are, which of course with the memory wipes and everything like that, the poisons and everything that they're doing, of course it makes it very difficult to remember who you are and embody who you are, and especially if you've had a lifetime full of trauma. To talk of yourself or think of yourself in such an empowered way is difficult, because you've got so much trauma there. You've been told you're not good enough, probably not just this lifetime, but other lifetimes. Again, this is why we need to do the work. So I believe this more and more every day to be an inside job. And don't lose hope, or don't think that you're not, or people aren't waking up or changing, or because when you're in it, like we are on the front lines, it can get very you can get very downhearted. You can lose hope. But I look at myself, and I've been in this for 10 years now, probably a little bit longer. Some of you have been in it for longer. And when I zoom out and look at the amount of people that are aware today to what they were 10 years ago, it's incredible. And even now, when I go on like newspaper articles online, the comments, when they're trying to encourage the next poke in the arm or whatever psyop they're pushing, the comments now are just people just laughing and saying, no way. Whereas even 2 or 3 years ago, if we look back at the comments then, people were compliant. So there is a shift going on. Now, does that mean that we're going to live in utopia and, are we going to be in the new Earth 5D? No. I don't know if you could ever polish this turd, but we are for sure glitches in the matrix. We are making a difference, even if it doesn't feel like you are. And so more and more I'm thinking about this as being, it's always been a war on consciousness, but we hold this whole thing in by not stepping into our sovereignty. And it's a frequency war, a war on consciousness more than anything. So this is what I've been saying. We are the batteries that are powering this architect, this AI, and all its minions, these entity races, that are basically enslaved as well. So what is the goal of the architect? Well, it's to harvest our energy, to continue this program, this distorted program that it's running for its own survival. It's to recycle souls so the batteries keep on coming back. And it's to suppress our sovereignty, to give our power away, to look for saviors, so then it can come in and play the savior, which it never will do. And I think that's basically what we're up against. I think this is what's happened. It's an infection, it's a virus, it's a malware, like a rogue computer programmer that's just come in, seen an opportunity. Maybe when you look at Tales of Atlantis and these kind of civilizations, it seemed we were getting very tempted by technology, and we see that happening again now. And maybe there was a window of opportunity for this virus to come in and infiltrate, because that's what it does. Look at all the infiltration that goes on in the truth movement and the alternative media. You got your RFK Juniors, your Trumps, you've got the Alex Jones, you've got all these people that give you half truths and up to 90% truths. We see it in the astral with the the fake light beings, where they give people a lot of truth, but it's fake. And so what this does, this system, we see it everywhere, it infiltrates and it hoodwinks and it deceives, but it has no creative abilities of its own. This is why when you figure out the tricks of the matrix, it loses all power, because it's not like it's got several other different plans to hijack you. It's all one trick pony. Problem, reaction, solution. Divide and rule. Don't get me wrong, it's important to understand the soul trick and what happens when we pass and the life reviews and all of that stuff. Of course, most of us don't want to come back, but why not, while we're here, why can't we become frequency disruptors? Infiltrating the infiltrator. So I really feel that we really need to remember who we are. I know that gets thrown around a lot, but really ponder that we are consciousness. We are the creative ones. We are the storytellers, the writers, the singers, the comedians. Everything that this system hates and tries to suppress. And I said on another podcast yesterday, look at everything that they're doing to us. Not just on the physical with the jabs and the chemicals that are being sprayed and in the food and all that stuff. I mean, they spend every day blocking out the sun. Imagine the level of manpower and effort and money that goes into doing that. And then you look at what they're doing astrally with etheric implants and overlays and entity attachments and just constant hijacking. And then you've got frequency fences after frequency fence and amplifiers and projectors. And where does the power lie, guys, really? Because if you need to do all of that to somebody or something, you're scared. You're scared. There's something about them that you're scared of. And this is where I'm at. And I will never spiritually bypass anything. And I'm not saying that it's a doddle and all of that stuff. But I do want to flip it back a little bit to what is it about us that they are so scared of? That they have multi-billion surveillance companies, censorship, everything. And we need to remember that that's where the power lies. For Pete's sake, they need our energy to survive. We are the batteries. But we don't act like that, even in alternative and truth movement. So just for today, at least, just ponder on what it is you are and what it is about you that they are scared of and why they want you so compliant, complicit. And this is all amplified and held down by this Saturn moon matrix, these amplifiers. And behind all that is the architect, which I'm going to refer to it as. And I believe this architect, I don't think it's a physical thing. I think it's a distorted form of consciousness. And it's probably taken over other realms, other realities, and distorted it there as well. And I believe that while we're here, we might not see it in our lifetime, but while we're here, we can be disruptors in that field. And that's my aim. I'm not just hanging around waiting to die so I can avoid the light. Of course I'm going to do that. I'm not telling people shouldn't do that. And I'm not going to be so attached to the outcome that it might recycle me back here. But I'm certainly not going to go lying down. I think that's my message. I'm going to do the work myself. I'm going to become the lighthouse. And I think everyone should consider that. I'm not telling people they should do. But why not be a lighthouse while you're here, a beacon? Because that sovereign energy, when you embody it, that echoes out into time and space. It affects people around you. People can feel it. And it inspires other people, even if you don't even say anything. Just even how you live your life and the way you carry yourself. And piece by piece, bit by bit, we're disrupting that frequency, and which I believe, and this is where I'm going with this, I think if more and more of us do that, and this is where we need to drop the savior programs, because that keeps you out of sovereign energy. That's why there's so many savior programs. Hindu gods, Egyptian gods, God itself, Jesus, angels, guides. Like, it's never ending. Because once you drop all of those savior programs, you're left with self. And where does that lead you? It leads you to sovereignty. And yeah, it's painful because your guides aren't there, and you're going to have to start making decisions for yourself and taking action yourself, and you can't rely on things that you once relied on, which you can't really rely on them anyway. That's deception. But you're embodying your natural frequency. Because consciousness was never supposed to be enslaved, ordered around, barked, none of this. And I really believe that's where this war is won, on a frequency consciousness level. So, yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Leave the comments in the description below, not the description, in the comment section below. And don't forget, hit the like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you again soon on the next one. Take care.